Hey, what's up everybody? Mo Hashim here with Flat Fee Landlord Property Management, serving the DC metro area that includes Northern Virginia, Washington DC, and Maryland. I want to wish everybody a happy new year. As we have entered the new year, I wanted to go over a couple of things, some common themes that we're hitting recently. We've been hit recently with a lot of common work orders, and I know if we're dealing with it, I'm sure there's a lot of individual landlords and real estate investors that have rental properties. You're probably dealing with it as well. So come with the new year also does come cold weather, and that's what we're dealing with. Right now we're dealing with below freezing temperatures, even below zero temperatures at times, and with that freezing temperatures comes freezing problems. And some of the common things that we're coming up with right now are HVACs going out, cracked pipes. Those are the two biggest things that we're dealing with. I'm gonna go over preventative as well as some proactive things that you can do as an individual landlord. Maybe you've already been hit with some of these things, or maybe you have not yet had your tenant reach out to you about these things, and you want to make sure that you're prepared if your tenant does reach out to you. These are some things that you want to consider. So number one, if the HVAC or the heat goes out, okay, your tenant gives you a call and tells you that the heat is no longer working. As a landlord, you got to make sure you're taking care of your tenant, okay? These are people that typically pay their rent on time, so you want to make sure you take care of them when an issue comes up, okay? So if the heat comes out, you definitely want to tackle it as soon as it happens, okay? So number one, you want to make sure you have a trusted vendor or HVAC technician that's going to go out there and take a look at the unit, okay? A trusted HVAC technician falls in line with like a trusted mechanic, okay? You probably, as a real estate investor or a landlord, don't know too much about HVAC systems, and you probably don't know specific. So you don't want any technician to just come in there and take a look at it, because they may say, hey, the whole unit needs to be replaced, and that's a several $1,000 job, okay? So you want to make sure that you trust the person that comes down and takes a look at it. They don't tell you that the entire unit needs replaced when maybe just a simple part needs replaced, which is maybe a couple $100 as opposed to several thousand, and that's going to prevent you from being taken advantage of. On the preventative side, all right, if you haven't had somebody reach out to you yet, if you're a landlord and you have a rental property, you want to invest in space heaters. You want to buy the space heaters, keep them in the property, because around this time of year, there are a lot of properties going out with having heat problems. And if they're all having heat problems, there's probably going to be some backlog in terms of when they can come out. So you want to have some space heaters on hand in case it does happen, to keep your tenants and take care of your property, because come with freezing temperatures inside the house, that can cause other problems, not just tenant discomfort, but that can cause problems with your property, and that can lead to the next thing that we're going to be talking about, which is cracked pipes. Okay, with cracked pipes, what happens is the water inside the pipe freezes, and it's going to expand within the pipe, causing the pipe to crack. And when that happens, that can cause so many other problems. Water is a property's worst nightmare. It can cause so many issues. So if you haven't had a cracked pipe call yet, you want to reach out to your tenant and you want to remind them to make sure that the heat is on at all times. Even if they leave town, a lot of times tenants turn off their HVAC units to save on energy costs. You want to remind them while the temperature is below freezing, you want to make sure that the heat is remained on when they're out of town or when they're out of the house, so that the pipes do not freeze and cause cracking. Okay, two, if they do have an HVAC problem, you want to make sure until the HVAC technician does come out, tell your tenants to open the cabinet doors below the sinks. That's going to allow for whatever heat is in the property to circulate through there and help prevent any freezing of the pipes as well. Also, a good practice is going to be to keep your faucets at a slow drip, really at all times while the temperature is cold. And this is going to allow the water to move slightly. It's going to prevent it from being stagnant, which is going to make it easier to freeze. So if you keep it on a slow drip, it's going to help prevent some freezing as well. So those are some tips. I hope it helps. If you have any questions or need help with managing your property, with finding vendors, anything like that, feel free to give any of our DC Metro offices a call. You can also go to our website at flatfeelandlord.com.